Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Inspired By podcast, a sharing space that invites genuine connections with passionate, spiritual, and creative specialists that are inspired by spirit and walking their soul path with grace and the intention of touching and inspiring others from the heart. My name is Maya Abushtid. I'm a medicine woman, a shamanic practitioner, and a preparation and integration facilitator. I offer one-on-one and group medicine ceremonies on a regular basis, and I organize and hold retreats with emphasis on preparation and integration processes. I hope you enjoy and get some inspiration from this episode of Inspired By podcast.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Maya. I am so pleased to have as a first guest really on the Inspirited By or Inspired By actually section in my website. And this is the first recording that we're having, and it's something that really pleases me. And I would like to welcome Yvonne Lambert. Welcome, Yvonne.
Hi, thanks for having me, Maya.
Thank you, my dear. This is like a real beginning when it comes to something that is starting up. And I felt that it resonated very well to connect with you and have you as the first person to host on this kind of podcast section in the website. So just to mention that this website is soon to be launched, and it is inspirited.world. And it's a website that relays the connection with spirit. And that's the motto of it, inspired by spirit. And this is also the intention of my approach in connecting with Yvonne. So first of all, I would like to leave the mic for you to talk a little bit about yourself and or a bit more. And tell us a little bit, what is it that you do? The connection that I have with you is much deeper than that. We'll probably tackle that, but the passion, your passion, that really inspired me to get in touch with you.
Well, I am Yvonne, and I think that I've always been really drawn to nature and sound and movement. I've been working as a professional musician for the last 23 years. But I think that my life started as a healing journey, like from childhood. I don't think I was aware of it as a child, but in retrospect, I can see that I was drawn to specific things like nature and sound and movement, and all of those things have very healing qualities. And I think nature is the best place to start for healing. I always loved playing outside with animals and bugs and plants and dirt, and just kind of feeling the healing and restorative effects from that. I think that natural sounds, definitely scientifically stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system and aid in relaxation and digestion and calm. and I, yeah, and started exploring music and dance at a very young age. I studied ballet for 20 years, um, and then I think when I was about 5, my grandmother gave me a tiny keyboard, and I taught myself how to play all of my favorite songs. And I think I had had a lot of fun exploring um, the way that sounds influence and reflect and connect with emotion. So exploring different progressions of sounds that spelled out joy to me, or melancholy, or excitement. And music was always a very meditative and cathartic and almost spiritual process for me, just connecting with vibration, I think. Um, and yeah, I graduated from college with a degree in psychology, and my first job was uh, assisting with music therapy in a state hospital. And I think that was the first time I experienced uh, or I was able to really see, like, in action, the healing effect of music on patients. And we were working with patients using percussive instruments like drumming and like tambourines and rattles and stuff like that. And I remember being really struck with like how powerful that felt for some of the patients. And it reminds me now of like shamanic practice, shamanic practices using drums and rattles to kind of induce, a calmer state. And even dance. I think dance was this, started out as a spiritual practice that was more about kind of transmuting energy and maybe less about entertainment. I think in our modern world, we look at dance and music as this very entertainment-centered practices, but I still see the spirituality in both of those. And so yeah, my most recent project has been collecting biodata from plants and mushrooms. And I have this little device, I'll show you. It's just a little box, and it has two electrodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I touch these just to the surface of a plant, and it picks up just the inner biological workings, the energy, just all the microcurrent fluctuations and changes of energy inside the plant. And it changes it, and translates it into a language called MIDI, which is a language that computers use to talk to synthesizers and drum machines and other technology. But I can take the plant data and turn it into music, and have found that plants just make the most beautiful ambient and meditative music. And of course, I'm assigning parameters. Like, I think just the raw data kind of sounds a little bit more chaotic, but I take the raw data and assign a sound and a key and a scale, and just kind of let it play.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. Thank you for sharing, this amazing part that relates so much to nature. I think this is I don't only think, I feel that this is truly who we are as beings. And if there's anything we can learn from, it is nature. And it is how we resonate, each one in their own way, with nature, and how we transcribe this and manifest this in our life. So for touching on that subject, this is the reason why I got in touch with Yvonne. And because I saw that, so Yvonne is also part of the Octopus Project, that is more of the description of a techno slash alternative kind of band with so much kind of creativity. And I think the youth in the band just brings in this flair, these spices when it comes to your music. So the whole the whole band started in 2002, as I remember you sharing, and how the evolving of music is happening. It's just it fascinates me. So I was following what you were doing lately, and what told me was the work with the mushrooms.
Yeah.
And so I know that you started connecting with the sound of plants in Peru, in the Sacred Valley. So this is where I met Yvonne as well, not in the Sacred Valley, more in the Amazon. So a bit close to the Sacred Valley. But you had started that journey there, and we spoke about it during your stay in the Amazon, and then later on. And I remember I had an incident, a very brutal incident, and you came beside me, and you shared with me the sound of San Pedro.
Yes.
And I remember that really well, and it just touched my heart. I was in a very, very vulnerable state. And I thank you for that again. So lately, my connection with mushrooms has been really going much deeper. I think they're coming to life again. They're popping up. Yes, they were part of the whole music world in the 70s, right? I saw some references also when it comes to other people connecting with relaying the message, relaying the sound of mushrooms in the 70s, and how you are carrying that with the passion, because I really find the people who connect with plants very unique. This is the people I connect with, actually. Probably this is where I'm like, yay, I'm gonna speak with people that are just speaking with plants, because this is my world.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated, Yvonne, by the fact that yes, we are aware, or some of us are at least aware that every organism, be it a fixed organism or a moving organism, what we call alive or dead, but like a rock has a frequency. Everything that is still has a frequency. And how this frequency plays out in nature is also how this can be perceived by us humans, if we are sensitive enough to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And when we start listening, this is something that can teach us a lot. So I have, this whole sharing is really two people sitting together and chatting about passionate stuff and getting inspired and inspiring each other and hopefully other people.
Yeah.
What I'm really fascinated by is that, as you mentioned, how you were connected to music, how the sound in your life has played a role in how you saw that affecting patients, and how this also played out in your healing journey. Can you share a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I think I mentioned before, just kind of exploring emotion, how music related to emotion. And there's a story that my mom loves to tell about how I think I was 5 years old, and she walked into my bedroom and I was playing my tiny keyboard and I was crying, and she was just like, what is this, what's going on? And For me, I was just playing, I was exploring, but in that moment, I was trying to play the saddest song. Like I was trying to pick out notes and progressions that would make me cry, and this was just kind of an exploration process for me. And in becoming a musician and exploring sound further professionally, I think I'm still very drawn to emotional music. And I think I really connect with music that um, that feels joyful. And I feel like, so for me, it's been a you know, I've been going through this journey of finding joy or bringing myself joy and hopefully bringing joy into the world, like transmitting joy through music.
Mm.
But really, it's been this mix of joy and melancholy, and the blending of the two, and
Mm.
that's been a really powerful thing for me
Mm.
as far as connecting with music and
Mm.
emotion. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for going a bit deeper with that. I wanted to retouch on that because this is something that, you know, I felt when I also met you, and I saw how deep of a person you are, especially in exploring this inner world, your inner world. And how was it, you know, this whole you know, biodata sonification device, the use of it, you know, getting introduced to it, and also being inspired by a friend in the Sacred Valley. How was the transition between tapping into connecting with plants into a transition into the part that connected you to mushrooms? Because mushrooms are not plants.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they have their own kingdom. If we say that they are plants, I can see them just saying, "Shut up!
No, I
No,
think,
we're not
yeah,
plants.
I think they're
We have
closer
our
to
own
being
kingdom."
human
Yes,
than plants.
exactly, exactly. So much so, and this is something that I find that this is also why they're really popping up. It's like the light is shining on them now, be it, you know, every kind of mushroom that is can be consumed. It's kind of really coming to life somehow for humanity to probably wake up in a way or another. Obviously, this is happening, but you know, this is going to require some time, and also it might happen overnight.
Right.
Time is
Yeah.
being irrelevant now. It's like,
Agree.
what is time? What is Monday? What is Sunday? It's weekend, the whole week. So can you please just share the transition between connecting with plants and you know, listening to the sound of plants, be it
Yeah.
cactuses, be it trees, be it
Mhm.
vines, all the way to mushrooms? If yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was first introduced to the MIDI Biodata Sonification Device in Peru from a friend who lived in the Sacred Valley, and the device that I have was invented by, or was made by Manuel Domke,
Mm-hmm.
and the technology was developed by Sam Cusimano.
Mm-hmm.
But we started out just traveling around the Sacred Valley and stopping off on the side of the road or going on a hike and recording all the plants that we could. And this experience in and of itself kind of took me back to this just childlike excitement. I had this new um, you know, toy to play with, a new sort of communicative technology to explore. And I've always felt a closeness with plants, but I really feel like this technology helped me to communicate with them or hear their communication in a completely different way, and I was fascinated by it. We started out recording plants and trees, and we just happened upon a random garden mushroom in Peru, just a little white mushroom. And I saw it and I thought, I want to record that. And the difference between plants and mushrooms was night and day. So it like really just blew my mind at the time. And to kind of illustrate, we had just recorded a eucalyptus tree, and the sound that the data that we collected from the eucalyptus tree was very like regimented and minimal, to where it was like one note and then like 5 to 10 seconds of silence, and then one note again, and then silence. And we recorded for a while, and it was like this pulse of the tree. And shortly after that is when we saw the mushroom, and we set our equipment to record the mushroom, and it was just like everything, all the sounds. It sounded like, and I think I've maybe mentioned this to you before, but it sounded like a mad scientist, like playing every note of a pipe organ. It was just so much information. And it really felt like these mushrooms have so much to say, so much more prolific communication than a lot of the plants that we had been recording, especially the tree that we had just recorded previously. It was these two very different qualities of the biodata information that we were getting from both. And with my limited understanding of how mycelium works, just as like the network of connections that mushrooms use, and it's been referred to as sort of the Earth's natural internet. And so with my understanding of mycelium, it's not surprising that the biodata of mushrooms is so much more prolific than regular plants, because it is like a communicator between, I think 98% of all plant life use mycelium in their life cycle in some way. It can help plants span thousands of acres, and they help plants absorb nutrients, and even they aid in decomposition. I mean, it's like the whole life cycle, like life and death, but it's all just wrapped up in this one big, beautiful thing. But I feel like, yeah, mushrooms have so much to say, and kind of really stepped forward as being these master communicators when we were using this technology.
Okay, taking a deep breath in here. It's yeah, I feel everything inside, because I have so much love for these beings, and they are being great also teachers in my life. It's fascinating the way you describe the tree. Eucalyptus has been also, it's not a native tree from Peru. It has been imported to Peru. And living in Peru, I got to understand, or to get to know the lands more, be it between the Sacred Valley or parts of the coast, or mostly the Amazon. And the way you're describing it reminded me of one of the Hobbit movies. I think it was the War of the Five Armies or something. And so there was this invocation of the elders, the trees, by the hobbits. And they went to them and they're like, we need your help. There's a war coming up and everything. And the trees were like, we need to consult with this was the language. So the eucalyptus tree described that for me.
Yeah.
Because also the trees have their own elderly presence. You know, they are somehow the grandfathers and the grandmothers.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a difference shamanically also between the energy of the tree with the energy of of a vine, or the energy of another plant when for example they're dieted.
Yeah.
But also, you know, how you're describing the connection with mushrooms, this is exactly how I experience
Oh,
with them energetically.
uh-huh.
And so this is something that I find that there are highly intelligent
Yeah.
beings. And they are, you know, even though they are underground, you know, the mycelium is all under the earth, and it's really holding life from below, the network underneath, connecting with the network above, so the network of the stars and the planets and all of that. But this is what holds life. And no wonder it has so much to share. It's like,
Yeah.
you guys are very slow. It's like, okay, you need to pick it up a bit.
Yeah.
So and they're funny also, so I find them to be quite intelligent, quite, their frequency is very high energetically. And I relate so much to how you're describing it in terms of technicality, um, in how they are also here to help us learn
Yeah.
about communication. It's like, all right, we just, no, we lost on that language. We kind of closed in too much, and we forgot about how to communicate words again, a
Yeah.
new language. And if there's a new language that we need to learn, might as well, because we failed in communicating with other languages
Uh-huh.
somehow, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. And you know, I think, you know, you also have mentioned that also every mushroom has its own, you know, this crazy scientist that is playing
Yeah.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah. They all have their own patterns and
right.
fluctuations. Um, just different, I don't know, different kind of designs that are detectable, like little like birthmarks on
Yeah,
the
signature.
yeah, their own signatures, definitely.
And how are you, you know, how are you developing on that? I think, you know, this is what also is inspiring you personally. I know of that, but also the whole band. How are you weaving that into your music, and what you're also preparing? I know that you had an event on May 1st that you was streamed online,
Yeah.
because this is what's available now. And also we have, you know, we're going to be sharing a live a way to connect to this amazing technology that, you know, I think it started in the 60s, right? In
Yeah,
terms of,
yeah, biodata sonification has been studied for the last 50 years, I think. And the particular technology that this box is based on, it's based on biological galvanic conductance. So it's like a lie detector test technology.
which really removes the noise of what can be detected from a plant. Let's say when a plant feels us getting close to it, the
Uh-huh.
plant can really relay a
Oh, it
frequency of
does.
fear. If the person has an intention to cut the tree is already aware that this person has the intention to cut the
Yeah.
tree,
Oh, yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it kind of gives it this buffer,
uh-huh.
right? Does that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say this because I feel like just in working with plants more with this technology and with these little clamps that sometimes I clip on the leaf, it's really brought up a lot for me the importance of consent. Um, and I've always talked to my plants, but I do feel it is so important to you know, greet the plant, introduce myself if it's a new plant. And I think that plants do, like you said, understand a mental intention. And so asking for permission, like to touch the plant, may I record you? Can I sit with you? Can I take a photo of you? And then feel the answer, you know, telepathically. And also I think it's important to make offerings, to offer gratitude or water or herbs or a song, or, you know, just but the importance of that communication, this a more reciprocal communication. Yeah.
And this, you know, describes or can really highlight the sensitivity of your being and of beings that are really connected to nature, and I would say in a truly human way, because this is who we are as human beings. We live with nature.
Yeah.
And the more we are sensitive to nature, the more we tend to be able to read what's going on within us and around us. And, you know, this connection with emotions is at the core of the fluidity. Is the, you know, we're talking about the water element. How can water be an essential part in our life, and what is it also doing for us in terms of expressing a specific flow, be it we define it as sadness or joy, so that this whole thing can be an expression and experience of a flow of life as human beings.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So thank you for sharing more about this, you know, device, the way sound is detected. How can we translate sound in a way we can understand, even though intuitively we have this embedded in us, but technology is definitely helping. What is it that now, you know, you're bringing into your signature as Yvonne Lambert, you know, your uniqueness? I find you to be a very unique woman, really, very unique being, highly sensitive, and very much in tune with, you know, if we can talk about healthy connection, you know, when you take consent, and I see that, I saw that's the sensitivity about you. What is it that is you're bringing into the next stage of your journey with music and transcribing and deepening your connection with plants and mushrooms? And also, if you can share with us a little bit of the
Yes, I would love to.
a sample of what you do in terms of that.
Yeah. I guess something I maybe touched on a little bit earlier, but the sort, you know, I've been a professional musician for over 20 years, and that has been, you know, of course, it's been a very deeply, there's a very deep and personal part of that journey, but a large part of it has been performative. And I think I mentioned how in our modern world, like music has become a very performative thing, um, for entertainment. Um, and I'm feeling more drawn to the healing aspects of music, and really have been turning inward over this last year to kind of feel how that feels best to present, you know, as an idea, and to do it in a sensitive way where you know, it feels like a kind of a balance of it being entertainment and being spiritual, and doing that with respect, with reverence, definitely. I think, yeah, I would just like to explore the healing aspects more, and find a respectful way to present that to the world, to kind of transmit those ideas. And Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big part of it. I think there was
Wonderful.
another question in there I'm missing.
Yes, I'm gonna get there again, but I just want to take a moment here to wish you the very, very best in how you are being guided by the plants and, you know, nature. I think this is where you're tapping into your own medicine work as a human being, as a musician, as a woman, and that's wonderful. And it's so beautiful to see this, really, really. The other question, it's not a question, it's actually a request. We have a plant with us that that is Yvonne's companion, and yeah, we would like to hear the sound of your friend.
Yes, I will introduce her. I do want to mention real quick that I'm getting things set up. I read about a study recently that was done on a cress plant. And so what happens is this plant gets attacked by caterpillars. And there was a study done where the scientists went in and recorded the sound of the caterpillars chewing the leaves. And then they played this sound back to the plant. And what happens in the plant is when they're attacked by caterpillars, they have a protective response where they produce like a mustard oil. It's like their own natural pesticide to caterpillars. And what happened in this study is playing the recording to plants actually triggered it to produce this natural pesticide. So it's not necessarily saying that plants can hear. Obviously, plants don't hear the way that we do through bone conductance, but they definitely detected vibration enough to trigger a response. And I like to think that my plants can hear me. And I do feel sometimes when I play an instrument along with the plant, it will sometimes start and stop with me with some particular phrases. But I thought that was interesting that I think they can hear us. So this is my plant Ray, and this is her feather that I gave her.
Of course.
And she has been my music partner for maybe about these last 7 months. And I'm going to play some of her sound for you. So I'm going to take the electrodes and put them, let's see, on her leaf.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is Ray's song.
Thank you, Ray. Thank
Thank
you.
Ray.
Wow, that's beautiful. So this is directly from the plant, or this is like coded with music, you know, but this is directly from the plant recorded, and then you add musical notes to it?
Yeah,
And,
so
oh,
I gave,
and visuals, right?
yeah, I gave her a scale
Ah, I see.
and then a key. This was in the key of C.
Ah, all right.
And then I can pick different sounds. Like I have also, let's see, if this, I have, let's see. So I can also show you, I have a mushroom here. This is a yellow oyster, and
Beautiful.
this I don't like to clamp it to it because
Mm,
it damages the tissue. But if I
yes.
just touch it,
Wow.
yeah, there's a lot more range, like
Yes.
deep notes and high notes.
Yes.
I think Ray was more in the higher note range, but
Mm,
this is so much more all over the place.
mm. Wow. Yeah, I can see the, your a very exact description of the musician just going like all over the place and
Yeah.
spreading every kind of musical expression. Wow, that's really fascinating. So, this is also how you add the whole composition as well in your performances, at least lately, the online performance that you had on May 1st. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, and an additional part of that particular performance was we were, um, it was not only the music that the mushrooms were controlling, but we designed a visual program. And so again, we input the elements, these visual elements and visual cues that the biodata of the mushroom can affect. So we had these visuals going on
Mm,
where the mushroom biodata information was changing the colors or the height of certain things or the shape of certain visual cues. So it's been, yeah, just kind of an ongoing process of discovery of how we can use this biodata to communicate different things in different ways. So with
yeah.
music and visuals, and my next thought was to maybe do some kind of animatronic sculpture, like a moving sculpture that we can plug the mushroom or a plant into and make this like moving piece of art.
Wow. It can be an etheric one, and you can just
Yeah.
just cover it up with something like red dots, red
Yeah.
and white dotted
Yeah.
costume kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about music therapy and color therapy. It's like the combination of it all. It's
Yeah.
really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
This kind of I don't think this is work. I think this, yeah, probably the technicalities of it require refinement, but when you talk about it, it just feels like an ongoing inspiration the whole time, because you don't know what to expect from a specific mushroom at the specific moment,
Mhm.
how the plant is responding at another specific moment.
Yeah.
And so, again, we go back in the loop to emotions. What are emotions other than, these uh, um, chemicals moving in the body, be it in human beings or chemicals moving in a plant as well,
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
the plant does not have, blood or anything, but it is movement of substance of chemicals in a medium, in a watery medium, in a fluid medium. And the same with animals, I assume, right? So it's just fascinating. And yeah, it's just, again, this is something that is very much in line with the spirit of things, and also shamanism, how we can really connect with the spirit of a plant, invoke it to also bring in its own medicine, and see what kind of movement it's doing for us within our body, and how sounds also can play a big role, you know. It's just wow.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point you can think of adding, you know, what is the smell of a mushroom, for example. You know, you would have touched on the five senses, you know. It's
That's
like,
true.
okay, how does a mushroom feel when you touch it? And beautiful, beautiful. It's and the connection, you know, between us and them is, you know, we're not gonna go back to being tribes in you know, the old ways and everything, the way we describe, you know, how people used to live before, how they would make their offerings at the base of a mountain for the rain to happen, or for crops to grow. But we can really deepen our connection with nature, with technology, in a beautiful way, in a way that is more connecting us as humans rather than disconnecting us to each other in this web. And this is also how we can, each one of us, have their own signature and cherish this about each other. Everyone has their own uniqueness. So yeah, I mean, we can sit and talk for a whole day. But I would like to really, really thank you, Yvonne. This is such a pleasure. And it's been like I'm sitting with a friend and having a chat. And this is what it is. This is what this, I don't know what to call it, a section, a part, whatever. It's more like it's a sharing. This is what this whole website is about. And
Much gratitude for tuning in and listening. If you got inspired by this episode, please spread the inspiration around you. Add a review or a comment here. And if you are in need for guidance in your spiritual journey, do get in touch via my website, www.inspirited.world. Many blessings in love and medicine.